So today I want to talk about hardship, um, and the fact that hardship is your best teacher. So you can judge or question life for the hardships you get handed, or you can use that free will to learn and adapt and um, evolve and pivot gracefully. And that it's your call to do that. We're making that call in a way every day. And so so I'll give you an example. I'm sitting on the plane 2 weeks ago, and I'm listening to the guy behind me tell his story about how he's flying back. So he got divorced. He's 50 something. He got divorced. Wife takes their kid, goes to Chicago, where her family is, and he followed her to be near his kid. No friends there, no family, doesn't know anybody in Chicago. His wife is now with somebody else there. He has no job. He gets depressed. He couldn't get a job in his industry, so he took a retail job from like a really high paying job at a really good company. Um, and and I was interesting because the way he told the stories, he basically I got the whole story, by the way, before I got off the plane. I got to hear how it ended. Um, he did great. He said he used to be kind of had a lot of road rage before this happened. He had a lot of road rage. He was wound really tight. He was kind of anxious. He didn't like being on vacation. He didn't like weekends. He just was he said, I had an edge. I was kind of had a chip on my shoulder for no real reason either. He was laughing. He just said I was kind of miserable. And what happened is he came back from this miserable experience, and something happened while he was there, and he just said, I just took the edge off. I'm like a better person. And I'm it's a perfect example about this because in a way we're all having to decide, and in a way we're all that guy. That story could have gone either way, and all of us have done some of both. So what it looks like is, in a way, hardship is like we all face it. So it hasn't singled you out, but that's what it looks like because of the way thought works and reality works. Whatever you're going through looks like it's not supposed to have happened. Um, so you blame yourself, you blame whoever's fault it is, or you feel betrayed or let down by life or by the universe, or feel left down by other people. You're asking just so you get caught up in like, why did this happen? What did I do to deserve this? Or other people have it easy. So, a perfect example of this that I saw, I was watching a documentary, and I see this a leopard. So this documentary is about this big cat, right? A leopard, and it's out hunting, and she's got two cubs to feed. And while she starts hunting, they're showing her this amazing footage. One of the cubs um, comes out of the den, and it starts walking with her, and is like, "Oh, I'm going to go with you," and is making noise and is distracting and is trying to play with her, and she's all quiet and stealth and scares her prey away. She can't tell it to go back to the den. So, um, well, meanwhile, so the next day, a few days later, she's out hunting, and she gets distracted by the fact that there's another leopard. The other leopard is hunting her cub. And it turns out that the leopard that's hunting her cub is her grown daughter. So imagine you have a kid, and your kid is trying to kill your other kids. And that's every kid you have comes back into your territory and goes after your young ones, your defenseless young ones. And and then the cub that's hiding from uh, older her older cub, the younger cub's smart enough to hide, but comes out halfway through and almost gets eaten. So her cubs have terrible instincts, and apparently this is common. So the mom has to intervene and fight her younger daughter, and almost loses her cubs. So her cubs have no street sense, are completely uncooperative, and she's facing starvation and having her cubs starve. What I thought was such a cool example is that she didn't really have this she didn't get bitter and resentful. I hear I raised my daughter and she comes back and is trying to kill my young, like, like that doesn't seem fair. Um, she got it rough and she's not put off by her cubs distracting her while she's hunting. She just realizes at some point, um, she decides I can't hunt right now. So she has to figure out how to solve those problems. And, in the animal world, they're sort of pure, they don't have the free will to be, why is this happening? We're going to starve. She doesn't have the space to panic. That's a human thing. We have the free will to do that. And I highlight that story because if you're like the client I talked to this morning is a 20-year-old, um, she found herself addicted to painkillers and after a sports injury when she was 16 and spent 4 years in rehab. And her parents, everybody was kind of shocked. Her doctor was shocked. She was shocked that that even happened. And she was a very conscientious, hardworking student, and they just found themselves in this situation. So now, 4 years later, she's behind in life. She doesn't know anybody anymore. Her friends have moved on. They're doing better things. She's clean, but she still spends and eats impulsively, and she's sort of wrapped up in the shame of it and feeling kind of bitter. And the doctor didn't really educate me properly, and I've let myself down. I let my parents down. I'm not going to make anything of myself. And I want to point out that like we all face hardship. Hardship is neutral. It hits everybody. It hasn't singled you out, but it's hard to not get caught in that story. And so, I want to point out that like while you can't escape hardship, you can do everything right and still have it go wrong. You still get hardship, and you can't prepare for it. You'll face things that you don't really think you're ready for. Everybody gets some of that, and so life works in mysterious ways. There's so much we don't know about life, and but we know that hardship happens to everybody. And I don't know we don't know when it's going to happen, but we know that it's going to happen. And that's kind of a neutral fact. And that's something, if you step back, you can see that hardship, it's just, it's something that we're all born into. It's a condition we all are born into. And what you can influence is not when it happens or what form it takes, but your reaction to it. And so you're human, so it's normal to be shaken and thrilled by hardship. But it's in our ability, just like that leopard, to be able to trust hardship, that it's going to teach you something, that you'll come out the other side, and if you can listen and get interested in how do I move past this and get out of the outrage, get out of the self-consciousness about yourself, you can repurpose that energy into, okay, what makes sense? Just like this leopard. You have to you can use your free will to get your world small and focus on, all right, this happened. What do I do right now? What makes sense? And in a way, I'm talking about listening. You have to listen for, all right, what's my move? And the things that get in the way the most often that I see are people either get caught up in bitterness or being angry or outraged by what happened, or they get insecure, they don't trust life, they don't trust themselves, they kind of get caught in feeling wary, or they get caught in being let down by life or disappointed by themselves or by life, or they get self-conscious. People are watching me. I look like a fool. I did this to myself. So if you listen for those, that's an opportunity for you to get back on track and see, let me get my world small. How do I want to play this? What do I do? And get to where you're listening to what your next move is rather than getting caught up in your story about it.